how to structure your day so you get the most work done that's going to actually benefit you and your career. So you're not spending all hours of the day and night trying to get the tasks done. Because believe me, I've been there and I don't want to go back either. Hi there, friend, and welcome to the Design Your Happiness podcast, where we work to live, not live to work, and the financial gains and well earned free time of the lives and careers or business we've designed have taken the place of those late work nights, stressful, all too short weekends, and feelings of just getting by. I'm Rebecca Hayes, a corporate girl who recently decided to branch into entrepreneurship because what I really enjoy is helping others define their own path. And for me, that comes at the intersection of the life you want, the career or business you enjoy, and the money to make it possible. And that's where Design Your Happiness comes in. So let's work together to reclaim your finances, reimagine your life and career or business, and redesign your happiness so you have the confidence, energy, and concrete strategies to build the life of your dreams. Are you in? Today we're going to talk about something that's going to transform the way you approach your day. We'll be diving into key considerations when planning your day to maximize productivity, some things to be aware of after you've made your plan, and my PIN, yes, that's an acronym, technique to strategically set up your day so you get everything done you need to without wasting any of your time. Because I know how important that is. So if you're ready, let's dive in. First up, let's start with we know that we all have only 24 hours in a day, and how we use those hours can greatly impact not just our career trajectory, but also the way we live our lives. And though it can sometimes be unpopular to say, especially these days, we don't have to give all of our time to our careers in order to be successful. What we really need is to be efficient and strategic as we choose how we spend our time working. So many of us struggle with time management, getting things done on time without spending too much time doing it. And to do that, I use what I call the PIN technique. Basically, this method allows me to focus on what truly matters for my career while avoiding time wasting activities. Because having a clear sense of purpose and goals is crucial, we want to start with our priorities, which is the P in the PIN technique. This prioritization effectively begins with understanding your overarching goals. We want to take action in line with what we really want to achieve. So, to do that, ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in my career in the next year? Or whatever time frame makes sense. You can change it up. You can pick, 2 years, 5 years, 6 months, whatever works for where you're at right now. But the time frame really keeps us on track so that we know what we want to do and it gives us a by when, right? It gives us a time period to do this in so we know what we're working towards. And once you have that understanding of more broadly what you're working toward, we can start to get more specific with our priorities. So, to get to our daily priorities, we want to think about what has to get done now or first. This prioritization can be based on deadlines, what due dates are approaching, basically making this work more important than work with due dates that are further out. Another thing to think about is what is dependent on this work getting done. So, do you have a due date that's maybe further out? But if one step or this next step in this process doesn't get done, then the whole thing is delayed. That might make it more important today to get done so that it continues to stay on track later. These questions really just help us get parameters to rank and kind of prioritize what gets done and in what order so that we're making the most of our time. Next up is the I in PIN, which stands for intention. Now that we know what tasks have to get done, we want to be intentional in when during the day we get them done. So, those tasks that are going to require more energy and knowledge and thinking, we want to make sure that we're doing those during what we call our peak performance hours. Everybody has them, and they might be slightly different depending on who you are and when you're the most awake and alert and energetic. And hopefully, this straight off now that I'm talking about it. But if you don't, you'll start to notice if you pay attention when you're in your peak performance hours, you'll be able to give the most of your attention and your energy to something. It's those times when you think about, like, I didn't think that I could do this in this amount of time, right? I didn't think that I could do this quickly, or how did I knock that out so fast? That's probably because you were working during your peak performance hours. And for a lot of people, that time period, it's usually a few hours, 2 to 3, maybe 4 if you're lucky, probably in the morning for most people. But it can be at other points. It might be right after you wake up. Otherwise, it could be in the mid morning, maybe the afternoon, and probably for very few people, it might be even later in the day. But whenever that time period or that block of time is for you, when you feel like, yes, I can absolutely do this, I can knock all of these things out way faster than last time or way faster than I thought was possible, that's your peak performance hours. And that is when we want to be doing those more difficult or challenging or more thought provoking tasks, those more involved or deep thinking tasks, the ones that are really going to move the needle for us, the ones that require us to get a little bit more involved. And we want to build our whole day around those tasks because we want to, as much as possible, make sure we're getting those done during this peak performance time block. And so, doing that, setting your day up around it, can be as simple as blocking your calendar during those hours and trying really hard not to schedule meetings or take coffee breaks or scan through your emails or do things that don't require as much energy or brain power. And basically, we just want to make sure that we're optimizing our day as much as possible to get as many of those more difficult or challenging tasks done when we're at our best, when we're really going to be able to knock them out without dragging our feet or getting distracted. And then that brings us to kind of the final point in the pin technique, which is all about what we call needle moving tasks. So, as we get into planning our day and you know what order you're doing the tasks in, what needs to get done today, and then we know when we want to get them done, right around our peak performance hours, now we want to zero in on the specific tasks that are going to do the most for us. And I kind of alluded to these in the intention piece because we want to be doing these in the right time during the day during our peak performance hours. But now we want to make sure that we identify those tasks that we know going in and that these are the ones that are slotted to be done during that peak performance time. So, needle moving tasks are generally the tasks that are going to give you the most for the time that you put in. So, say you're a business owner, these are the tasks that are going to directly affect your bottom line, your profits, your revenue generating, or they're going to be the ones that allow you to help or serve more people. So, maybe product development or creativity related projects. Basically, these are the ones that are going to help you build a better network, process, relationship, something, whatever it is that you're working on in this specific moment, the things that are going to give you the most back. And then, of course, on the other side, we have just the regular tasks. You might call them maintenance tasks, whatever you want to refer to them as. Just your typical everyday tasks like checking your email, something that's slightly mundane, or, that you have a regular schedule or cadence for any kind of maybe reporting or anything like that, you just do every day or every week on a schedule. These tasks are not needle moving, right? They just have to be done, but they don't really give you a lot back towards creating your business or furthering your career. And so you're probably thinking, great, I'll schedule my needle moving tasks during my peak performance hours and knock those out and get the best work out of those. Great. But what do I do about those other tasks that I have to get done? The maintenance tasks that we were just talking about. And to that, I would say schedule your maintenance tasks outside of your peak performance hours. So it doesn't really matter when they get done. Maybe you have a specific day or time or deadline that those need to get done by, and that's totally fine. Don't put them in your peak performance hours. But beyond that, if you need to do them at the end of the day, or if, a deadline happens to occur during what you find to be your peak performance hours for some of those more scheduled or mundane tasks, schedule it the day before. Or if you have the authority, try to move the deadline and make it so that you can get the most out of your day and the way that you're getting your tasks done. Sometimes if they're really mundane, I'll leave them as my last thing for the day, because by that point I'm done and I don't want to focus on anything else. I don't want to think or use a lot of my brain power. I've kind of done that for the day. And so I'll just kind of click through and do the things that I've been putting off and just knock them out. And it'll go pretty quickly, even though I'm tired, because they don't really require a lot of effort. And that's why we want to put those in a place during our days or weeks that allow us to get through them and get them done, because they need to be, but not in the time frames when we should be doing some of the more difficult, challenging tasks. You might even get some of those things knocked out during the 5 or 10 minutes between meetings if you have a lot of meetings during the day. So just, figure out what tasks might fit in those little bitty time slots and get those knocked out. But we just want to be conscious of where those could fit in outside of our peak performance hours so that they don't really add to our workload, or change the efficiency at which, we get things done, because that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to develop a very efficient day to let us get everything we need to knocked out. And so that kind of brings us to the end of the overview of the pin technique. And going forward, it can be really helpful as you think about how to structure your day so you get the most work done that's going to actually benefit you and your career. So you're not spending all hours of the day and night trying to get the tasks done. Because believe me, I've been there and I don't want to go back either. Now, there's one more thing that I want to discuss, because the pin technique has totally changed the way I try to work. But let's be honest, our days don't always go to plan. By aligning to our larger goals and choosing tasks that are going to give us the most for doing them. But what do we do when things pop up last minute, or plans or priorities change on a moment's notice? Because we all know they do. And I totally understand that momentary panic and sometimes frustration that pops up when something changes last minute, when it impacts, what we need to get done, or what we were planning to do and how we were planning to do our day, especially when that change is moving deadlines up. But we have to remain flexible with our plan to allow us to adapt when things change in a moment, because they will. The way I typically do this is simply by making trade offs. If something pops up unexpectedly that now needs to be done or dealt with, then what on the current plan for today can be bumped to later or tomorrow to give us the time today to do the new task. It's totally okay to be making changes on the fly as we get new requests or information. Truthfully, this ability to quickly adapt is critical to our success in any career or business endeavor. We don't want to get hung up making this decision on what changes, because it'll only waste our time, and we're not doing that anymore. So when that new request or task pops up, quickly run back through the pin technique to figure out what can be bumped or delegated to get yourself where you need to be at the end of the day. And That's really all there is to planning your day to align to your overarching goals so you get done everything you need to and nothing you don't. So, to recap for today, using the PIN technique helps you efficiently plan your day so you can excel in your career without giving up on enjoying every other aspect of your life. That coveted work life balance, right? And so, just to run back through the PIN technique, the P stands for priorities, which is just aligning to your broader goals. And then also considering any deadlines or dependencies for any of your day to day tasks. The I stands for intention, which is all about knowing when your peak performance hours are, and then using that to your advantage with the tasks that you choose to do during that time, and saving the rest for later. The N stands for needle moving tasks, which is all about those tasks that really move the needle, okay? The ones that are going to give you the most for getting them done. They generally require more energy and deep thinking, and they directly impact either your career goals or your business goals. And so, if you bring all of these together in the PIN technique, that gives you the best and strategic way to plan out your day to get what you need done to move you closer to achieving your goals. And if you want more guidance actually achieving the goals you set, because let's be honest, that's why we spend all that time setting goals, even if we don't talk nearly as much about the actual following through. Check out my free guide to help you set and achieve the goals you really want. I'll link to it in the description below, and it's completely free, so make sure you grab yours. It'll go hand in hand with what you learned in this episode about how strategically planning your day can transform your career or business. Remember, it's not about doing more, it's about doing the right things at the right time. And that's all I have for today. Until next time, keep. Hey there, friend. We've made it to the end of another Design Your Happiness episode. And if you're loving what you're hearing and you know someone else who would benefit from hearing it too, please share this episode with them. I can't tell you how much it would mean to me to support even more ambitious, aspiring entrepreneurs like yourself. So send them a text or a quick email with the link, and let's help even more people build the lives and businesses they've been dreaming about. All right, I'll see you next time. Until then, keep designing your happiness.